Good morning all. Welcome to Conduct Learning. How to learning with study. So we were at a chapter chemical reaction and equation. This is the first chapter for class 10 science. And previously in the last video we have done what is the oxidation and reduction reaction. So we came to know that in a oxidation reaction, oxygen is added with the substance, and in a reduction reaction, the oxygen is removed from the substance. So in the reaction in which any substance is getting oxygen is called oxidation reaction, or any substance which reduce oxygen from it is called reduction. In the both kind of the reaction, the substance which is getting oxidized is called reducing agent, and the substance which is getting reduced is called oxidation agent. After that we have done the two different effect of oxidation, corrosion and rancidity. Corrosion is basically happening with the metals like iron and other metals. The iron is getting rusted when it is getting oxidized. The rusting of irons take place because of the oxidation reaction. And other metals are also showing the oxidation reaction by or when they are getting crude. So in the both kind of rusting or crude, the metal who is rust, for example iron, and the metal who get crude, the both effects are because of oxidation reaction. Another example of oxidation reaction is rancidity. We found that the food product which are buy from the market, after some time they are start giving smell or their taste is getting changed. This is because of the oxidation reaction happened with the food product. So we added some antioxidant in between in these food products, for example nitrogen. So after this we will continue with the exercise question of this chapter. So first question is, why magnesium ribbon should be cleaned before burning in air? So you can understand this. So the first question is, why should a magnesium ribbon be cleaned before burning in air? So as we all know that the magnesium is very reactive metal. Because it's very reactive metal, so it get oxidized even when it is just exposed to the oxygen present in the air. It get oxidized, and after the oxidation, the oxygen make a layer on the magnesium ribbon, which prevent the magnesium ribbon to be get reacted further. So that's why in every use, and for using the magnesium ribbon in any kind of activity, we have to rub it, we have to clean the oxide layer from it. So the same is written there. Magnesium is very reactive metal. Magnesium itself is very reactive. It easily reacts with oxygen present in the air. When stored, it reacts with the oxygen to form a layer of magnesium oxide on its surface. This layer of magnesium oxide is quite stable and prevent further reaction of magnesium with oxygen. So the layer which is formed on the magnesium ribbon, and the layer is known as magnesium oxide layer, it is quite stable. It is that much enough stable. It prevent the magnesium to be further oxidized or further react with oxygen. So that's why for the use of magnesium ribbon in any kind of the activity, we have to be remove the layer from that ribbon. Next question is, write down the balanced chemical equation for the following chemical reaction, and the reaction is hydrogen and chlorine, which give us hydrogen chloride. As we all well know, the symbol for hydrogen gas is H2 and the symbol for chlorine is Cl2. And when both will react, they will give us hydrogen chloride, which is HCl. Now, if we check the chemical equation, it is not following the law of conservation of mass, because the mass on the reactant side is different from the product side. This is a reactant side This is the product side. This is rectangle. R stands for rectangle. This is the product side. And when we look at this, why the mass is not equal? Because in rectangle side, the mass for hydrogen is 2. And the mass for chlorine is also 2. So that's why the both are having 2 atoms in each element. But when we will come across product side, they only having one atom for hydrogen and chlorine both. So that's why the mass is not equivalent. So if I write down 2 here in front of HCl, it will be make equal the mass on reactant and product side of this chemical equation, because now the mass equal. For hydrogen there is 2 and chlorine there is a 2. So in this way, hydrogen and chlorine both are getting balanced after a chemical reaction. If I switch to the next, this is a barium chloride or aluminium sulfate. So I think so I have to rub it first before using or before writing the next equation. I have to rub it so that it should be clear in front of you. So barium chloride, that is represented by BaCl2. I have to rub it also, the arrow. So first of all we have to write down the chemical name of the substance. So barium chloride, this is represented by BaCl2. This is represent barium chloride. And after that, aluminium sulfate. So the formula for aluminium sulfate is nothing but is a Al2 SO4 3. And we have to check it. What is the product of, what is the resultant of this? This is a barium sulfate plus aluminium chloride. So this reaction will give us barium sulfate and aluminium chloride. So I have to write down the formula, chemical formula for barium sulfate, which is nothing but a BaSO4 and aluminium chloride. That means to say AlCl, aluminium chloride. Now if I check it, the number of atom on each side to check is the equation is balanced or not. I have checked it. The number of atom for barium is 1 on the reactant side. Here is a 1, and same for the product side. And number of atom for chlorine is 2 on the reactant side, but 1 for product side. So by looking or by the difference of any one element or any one substance, the difference of the mass on the reactant side for one substance to the product side for the same substance, make it clear the equation is not balanced. So from that point we can judge the equation is not balanced. Same we can check for aluminium. Aluminium here is a 2 atoms, but aluminium here is a 1 atom, so it's not balanced. SO4 3, so that means it is also not balanced, because sulfur is having a 3 value and oxygen is having 7 value, but here oxygen has 4 and sulfur is 3. So that's why we, to make it equal, first of all we have to write down here 3, so that sulfate and oxygen value should be equal, because it is written there sulfur is having 3 and oxygen is having 7, so it will be 7 4 or 3 for sulfur. But now barium is getting 3 atoms. Now to balance it I have to write here 3, so that barium on the reactant side and product side should be equal. But now the atoms for chlorine is getting changed. So to make it equal, I have to change it. How? And I have to check for aluminium also. Aluminium has a 2, so I have to mention here 2, so that aluminium become equal. And aluminium chloride is having 3 here. Aluminium chloride is having 3 here, so I wrap it and after that I wrote it. Aluminium chloride is here 3. which will become equal when I will write 2 in front of the aluminium chloride. So it is a 3 aluminium chloride AlCl3. So now you can understand aluminium is having 2 here, aluminium is having 2 here. The mass is equal. Chlorine is having 6 here, 3 into 2, 6. Chlorine is having 6 here, 3 into 2, 6. So it is also balanced. Barium is also having 3 here, 3 on the rectangle, 3 on the product side. Sulfate is having 4, 3, 4 for oxygen, 7 for oxygen, 7, and sulfur 3. So 3 for sulfur, 7 for oxygen. So now the equation is balanced. In this way you can balance the chemical equation. Further, in the next reaction, to proceed with this, I have to first of all rub it. So I simply take a rubber first of all and rub the whole chemical reaction. And you can simply, if you want to look at this again, you have to reverse the video and you can check each and every reaction in recorded form. So to move toward the next, I have to first of all rub this all chemical equation, all substance, so that I can proceed with the next. So I rub it, and when I switch toward the next, the sodium and water is there. So you can check easily. The solution is there on the screen for all three. Sodium is represented by Na simply. First we have to write on the sodium Na, and after that water H2O. And it is giving us a product is nothing but NaOH, sodium hydroxide, and hydrogen gas, which is nothing but H2. Now if we check, the equation is not balanced, right? Because hydrogen is having 3 atoms, 1 for this, 2 for this, but here hydrogen is having only 2. So I have to clear it, I have to change it. So that's why to make it 3, I have to add 2 molecules of hydrogen. So now it's become 4, and here is only 3. So make it 4 also, I have to write on 2 here. So hydrogen is now balanced. Hydrogen is having 4 this side and 4 this side. On a product or reactant side, both equal. But now oxygen is having 2 here, oxygen is having 2 here. So oxygen is also balanced. Now the thing is left, which is a sodium. So I have to again raise the number of molecules for sodium so that it should be balanced. So now sodium is also having 2 on reactant side and 2 on product side, and the equation is balanced. So in this way you can balance the chemical equation. Further, in question 3, what is a balanced chemical equation with the state symbols for the following reactions? Solution of barium chloride and sodium sulfate in water react to give insoluble barium sulfate and solution of sodium chloride. So this is basically the example of double displacement reaction. Where we are giving with barium chloride BaCl2, some kind of example we already have taken, and sodium sulfate, which is nothing but Na2SO4, and it is giving us barium sulfate, that means BaSO4, and sodium chloride NaCl. The formula for sodium chloride is NaCl. This is basically a salt. So to balance it, we have to first of all check the number of atoms for each element of reactant and product side. Barium is having 1 atom in this side and 1 atom in this side, so it's balanced. Chlorine is having 2 atoms in this side and 1 atom in this side, so it's not balanced. Sodium is having 2 atoms in this side, so sodium is having 1 element in this side, so 1 atom in this side, so it's not balanced. So if I write 2 here, the number of atoms for sodium and chlorine will be getting changed and the equation will be get balanced. Now you can check the equation is totally balanced because sodium is having 2 here, 2 here, number of atoms. Chlorine is having 2 here, 2 here, number of atoms. Barium has 1 atom, 1 atom. Chlorine is having, sulfur is also After that, the next reaction is sodium hydroxide solution react with hydrogen chlorine acid solution to produce sodium chloride solution and water. So first of all, we have to write down the chemical equation for the same, and after that we start writing it. So first thing is sodium hydroxide. As we all know, the formula for sodium hydroxide is NaOH in water, so that's why it's an aqueous solution. And when it is reacted with hydrogen chloride, that means say HCl. The formula for hydrogen chloride is HCl, and it is giving us sodium chloride, which is nothing but is NaCl, and water, H2O. So this is the equation for the same. Sodium hydroxide is represented by NaOH and hydrogen chloride is hydrochloride is by HCl. This is basically a acid. When the both are reacting, sodium hydroxide solution NaOH, which is nothing but a salt, when it is reacted with the acid HCl, it is giving us sodium chloride and water. Now I have to check is the equation is balanced or not. So first of all, I have to check the mass on the reactant side and the mass on the product side for all substance. So first of all, I will check the mass of sodium on the reactant side. It is nothing but is a 1, and on the product side it is also 1. So it is balanced. The both are balanced. Sodium is balanced on reactant side as well as on product side. After that, I check the mass for oxygen. Here oxygen is having 1 atom, and on the other side, in product side, oxygen is also having 1 atom. So it is also balanced. Now I switch toward the hydrogen. Here hydrogen having 1 atom in NaOH and 1 atom in HCl. So it's having total 2 atoms on the reactant side. It is same 2 on the product side. So hydrogen is also balanced. The chlorine is also the only thing which is left, the only element which is left. So chlorine is having 1 atom on the reactant side and 1 atom on the product side. So equation is totally balanced. So in this way, you can write the chemical equation with the state symbol for the reactions mentioned there. This is the solution for the same. After that, when we switch toward the next exercise, the first question is a solution of a substance X. Here the substance name is not given. It is represented by X. Is used for whitewashing. You have done what you have done already in the chapter, that what is the solution which is used for the whitewashing. So it should be come in your mind. So the question is, a solution of substance X is used for whitewashing. Name the substance X and write its formula. So if you remember, the substance was lime soda CaO, which is calcium oxide. This is basically the solution which is usually used for whitewashing. So the second question is, write down the reaction of this substance which is mentioned in 1 with water. So you know the chemical formula for water, H2O. So it will be give you a combination reaction and the output will be calcium hydroxide, CaOH2. So this will be the solution for this question. So calcium oxide is reacting with water, giving calcium hydroxide. So this is the solution for this. And if you pass the hydrogen gas in it again, it will be give you the product as was in previous case. You also have done this. The next question is, the same thing is written there. You can check. The substance X is a calcium oxide and its formula is CaO, and calcium oxide react with water to form calcium hydroxide is salt lime, and the equation is there. So the next question is, why is the amount of gas collected in one of the test tube In activity 1.7, double of the amount collected in other. So basically you have done the experiment or the activity for lead nitrate, and it is giving you the lead oxide, hydrogen oxide, and water and carbon dioxide in the output. So when you have done this activity, so why the gas in one test tube you found is more than the other? The reason behind is that we have found H2O, and H2O is a combination of two different gases, which is hydrogen and oxygen, and the chemical formula for water is H2O. H2O. Here you can understand the atom for hydrogen is 2 here and oxygen is 1. So the ratio between the both is 2:1. So when the experiment or the activity will be performed, one of the test tube will be contain the gas which is double than the other. Why? Because it is having 2 atoms for hydrogen, so it will be more than the oxygen. So that's why you will be having more gas in one kind of test tube. So water H2 contain 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. Therefore, the amount of hydrogen and oxygen produced during the process is 2:1, as I told you before. The formula for water is H2O, and it is a combination of two different gases, hydrogen and oxygen. And if you look at the formula itself, then you will be understand the hydrogen is having 2 atoms and oxygen is having 1 atom. So the ratio of atoms for water, for oxygen and hydrogen is 2:1. And during the electrolysis process, hydrogen goes to one test tube and oxygen to one. So the amount of gas collected by one test tube, that's why is more than the other. In the third exercise, the first question is, why does the color of copper sulfate solution change when iron nail is dipped in it? You have done this in the previous activity. You have taken the copper sulfate solution and the iron nail. Iron nail, the meaning is the simply a iron metal. And when the reaction is happened, then why the color of copper sulfate is changed, we have to be understood. So first of all, we will take the reaction chemical equation. Fe is a symbol for iron and copper sulfate is represented by CuSO4. This is the reaction basically which is happening in this, and I am writing the chemical equation for the same. So when you will be see, there is a displacement reaction happen. Iron sulfate will be the one substance after the reaction and copper will be the another. So you form the copper or you displace the copper from the sulfate. So that's why the iron nail color is getting changed and the copper sulfate solution is also faded. That means to say the copper sulfate solution color is changed from blue to green, the meaning of the fade. So in this reaction, the color of copper sulfate solution is changed because of this displacement reaction happen, right? So the solution for the same is also given there. When an iron nail is placed in copper sulfate solution, iron displaces copper because iron is more reactive than copper. So that's why iron displaces the copper from copper sulfate solution, forming iron sulfate, which is green in color. So that's why the copper sulfate solution changed its color from blue to green. Therefore, the blue color of copper sulfate solution fades and green colors appear, and the reaction will happen is given there. FeCuSO4, FeSO4 and Cu as a product. So reactant is Fe, that means to say iron. CuSO4 is a copper sulfate chemical formula, and we are getting iron sulfate and copper. Move toward the next question. Give an example of double displacement reaction other than the given in activities. So we have to now given the double displacement reaction. We have done so many reactions on double displacement. The reaction of barium chloride with uh, s- uh, with aluminium sulfate, right? That was the reaction which was double displacement reaction. Here we take another example for the same also. So in this, I will take the example of sodium carbonate Na2CO3 and sodium chloride, which is salt. Sorry, calcium chloride, which is given there. And after the reaction, there will be displacement. The double displacement is happening with the both substance on the reactant side. Chlorine will be attached toward the sodium and carbonate will be moved toward the chlorine. So we will have CaCO3, CaCO3 plus NaCl. NaCl is a salt, sodium chloride. To balance that chemical equation, as we can see, there is a 2 atoms for chlorine and 2 atoms for sodium. We have to write down 2 here. So this is the simple example of double displacement reaction. It is happening between the sodium carbonate and calcium chloride. We have formed calcium carbonate and sodium chloride. So this is the example of double displacement reaction, because one, the substance removed or attached toward the other chemical, element or any other substance. So here the solution is given. Sodium carbonate react with calcium chloride to form calcium carbonate and sodium chloride, as we can see in the chemical equation. So in this reaction, sodium carbonate and calcium chloride exchange ions to form two new compounds. That is true, because sodium carbonate and calcium chloride basically exchange their ions, negative positive ions. So the bonding is getting different on the product side, and we form the new compounds. And this is double displacement reaction, which is given there. Na2CO3 CaCl2, which is giving CaCO3 NaCl. Move toward the next question. Identify the substances that are oxidized and substances that are reduced in the following reaction. So we can see the reaction of sodium with oxygen give us sodium oxide. So in this reaction, we understand that the sodium is getting oxidized. In this first equation, we can see the sodium is getting oxidized. Or in the second equation, we can see the copper oxide and hydrogen reaction is take place, and it is giving us copper and water on the product side. Here copper oxide is given, which is reacted with hydrogen gas and give us copper and water. So in this reaction, in this particular reaction, copper is reduced. That means, the copper oxide is reduced, not copper. It will be wrong. Copper oxide is reduced and become copper. So there is a reduction, R. And hydrogen gas become water, and this is happening because of oxidation. So copper oxide is getting reduced and hydrogen is getting oxidized and become water in this particular reaction. So in this particular example, copper is acting as oxidation agent and hydrogen is acting as reducing agent. So it should also be clear in your mind. Here the solution is also given. Sodium is oxidized in first reaction. It gains oxygen and get oxygen. And oxygen is getting reduced basically because oxygen is removed. In the second example, copper oxide is reduced to copper while hydrogen get oxidized to water. Next question is, which of the statement about the reaction below are incorrect? Lead is get reduced. We have to take it. It's a lead oxide which is reacted with carbon and form lead and carbon monoxide. We having lead oxide on the reactant side, which is reacting with a gas carbon, which is reacted with carbon, and form lead and carbon monoxide gas. So what is happening here? Lead is getting reduced. First, carbon dioxide is getting oxidized. Second, carbon is getting oxidized. Or fourth, lead oxide is getting reduced. So options are A, B. This is defined for A. This is defined for B. This is defined for C. And this is defined for D. AC, ABC, and all. It can't be all, right? Because either one of can be oxidized or one of can be reduced. So lead is getting reduced first. Carbon is dioxide is getting oxidized, right? Carbon is get oxidized. Lead oxide is getting reduced. The answer is not given there, but it will be C or D. Because carbon is getting oxidized. Carbon के साथ carbon is attached to with the oxygen, so it is oxidized. And lead oxide, this is a lead oxide, this is lead. It is get reduced and become lead. So this will be the solution for this. Next is the equation is given to you and the options are, and the equation first of all define the ferric oxide having reaction with aluminium and form aluminium oxide and iron. So what is the meaning of this? It is that the combination reaction? Is that the double displacement reaction? Is that the decomposition reaction? Or is that the displacement reaction? And the answer is it is displacement reaction, because the oxygen is displaced from iron and combined with aluminium and form a substance or a compound. So this is a displacement reaction, because oxygen is getting removed from iron and combined with aluminium. So aluminium oxide or iron. So that is a displacement reaction, not double displacement, it's a displacement reaction, because oxygen is getting displaced from iron in this particular example. If we move toward the next is question 3. What happens when dilute hydrochloric acid is added to iron? Filling. Tick the correct answer. Hydrogen gas and iron chloride are produced. Chlorine gas and iron dioxide are produced. So the answer is already there in the form of equation. What happens when dilute hydrochloric acid, HCl, this is HCl, added to iron filling? Iron filling meant to say iron. Hydrogen gas and iron chloride will be formed. This is the displacement reaction. Again, right? Other options are wrong. This option is right. Next question. What is a balanced chemical equation? Why should chemical equation be balanced? We have already done this. We know that the equation should be get balanced because we have to follow the law of conservation of mass if we have to write down a chemical equation. So in true sense, the equation reactant mass should be equal to the equation's product mass, and it will be only equal when the number of atoms on the reactant side will be equal to the number of atoms on the product side. And the solution is already there. A reaction which has equal number of atoms of all the elements on the both sides of chemical equation is called balanced chemical equation. That means to say the number of atoms for elements on the reactant side and number of the atoms for elements on the product side, if it equal, it is a balanced chemical equation. The law of conservation of mass states that the mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. So according to that, whatever is there in the reactant side, it should be equal to the product side, because mass cannot be created nor be destroyed. The mass will be either there in form of the element, in form of system, in form of new compound, or either form of heat, but it should not be destroyed. Hence, in chemical equation, the total mass of the reactant should be equal to the total mass of the product. It means that total number of atom, which I make you clear before, the total number of atom of each element should be equal on both sides of chemical equation. If it is not equal, the chemical equation is not balanced. So in short, the balanced chemical equation is the equation which having, I repeat, which having number of atom for each element on the reactant side equal to number of atom for each element on the product side. That means to say the equation is following the law of conservation of mass. And the law of conservation of mass is saying the energy can't be created or the mass cannot be created, not be destroyed. So accordingly, the mass should be equal. And to find out is that mass is equal or not, we have to calculate the number of atoms for each element for reactant side and for product side. So according to that, we can understand the mass is equal or not. If it is not equal in any given chemical equation, we have to make it equal. The next question is question 5. Translate the following statement into chemical equations and then balance them. The first equation is giving hydrogen gas combined with nitrogen to form ammonia. So basically, first of all, I have to write down a chemical equation for the same. So I take hydrogen gas. As we well know, the symbol for hydrogen gas is H2. And when it is combined with nitrogen, that means to say the nitrogen is N and nitrogen is N2. So it will be give us the ammonia, and the formula for ammonia is NH3. NH3. It is a combination of sodium and hydrogen. Now as we can check, the number of atom for hydrogen on the reactant side are 2 and the number of atom for nitrogen on reactant side are 2. But when we switch toward the product side, there is a number of atom for sodium is 1. Sorry, nitrogen gas is 1. And number of atoms for hydrogens are 3. So according to that, the equation is not balanced, not for nitrogen and not for hydrogen. So what we have to do? We have to balance it. We have to balance the number of atoms on reactant side and the product side. If the atoms are balanced for both of sides of chemical equation, the equation will be known as balanced equation. So to start it, so first of all, I will go for balancing the nitrogen. So if I want to balance the nitrogen, either I can balance it from this side on reactant side or either I can balance it from product side. So if I balanced it on the reactant side, if I start balancing it from reactant side, then it will be understandable that the number of atoms for hydrogen will not affected for this, and we have to balance it also because number of hydrogen atoms are also required to be get balanced. So that's why I first of all try to balance it from the product side. So I write down 2 here. Now the number of atoms for nitrogen on the product sides are 2 and number of atoms for the nitrogen on reactant side are also 2. Now both are balanced. But now what about for hydrogen? Now number of atoms for hydrogens are 6 because 2 molecules of atoms giving 3 atoms for each molecule. It is giving total 6 atoms. Now it's not balanced. So that's why I have to balance it. So I start balancing it from the reactant side. And the reactant side for hydrogen I can mention here 3. If I mention 3 here, the hydrogen molecules will become 3 with 2 atoms in each and it will give us total 6 atoms. So according to that, now we having hydrogen also balanced on the both sides. So the equation is balanced now. The next is hydrogen gas sulfide gas burning air. First of all I have to rub it so that it will be clear visible to all of you. So I rub it and I will work on next equation after that. So first I rub and after that switch toward the next equation. Hydrogen sulfide gas H2S burns in air to give water and sulfur dioxide. So this is the equation. This is a reaction now. We have to write down the equation for this. So hydrogen sulfide, the symbol for this is H2S. H2 for hydrogen gas and S for sulfide. When it will burn in the presence of air, that means to say we are burning it in presence of oxygen, O2. It gives us what? It gives us water and sulfur dioxide. That means to say the products are H2O and sulfur dioxide. That means SO2, sulfur dioxide. Now check the number of atoms on the both side, reactant and product side. And after that, if it's not balanced equation, then try to balance it. So I check the number of atoms for hydrogen first of all. There are the 2 atoms for hydrogen on the reactant side or 2 atoms on the product side. So hydrogen is balanced. Now if I move towards sulfur, sulfur having number of atoms on reactant side is 1 and number of atoms on product side is also 1. Now switch towards oxygen. The number of atoms for oxygen on the reactant side are 2 and on the product side they are 3. 2 for this, 1 for this. So I have to balance oxygen. So to balance the oxygen, first of all I will check it out ki how much atom I should require to balance it. So if I want the 3, so because number of oxygen atoms are 3 on the product side, so I try to balance it from the reactant side. I write down here 3. So it will be 3O2, right? 3O2. So 3O2 now give us 6 number of atoms for reactant side. But now here we left only with the 3 atoms on the product side. So I have to balance it also. So to add more 3 in this, I will write down 2 here. For example, I take 2, right? I will take 2. So it will give us 2 to 4. But what about 3? Because 6 atoms of oxygen are required. So I have to write down 2 also here. Now this 4 from this substance, the 2 from this substance is giving 6 for oxygen. Now oxygen is balanced, but now hydrogen is not balanced because hydrogen is having 4 on the product side but 2 on the reactant side. So to balance it I have to write down 2 here so that it will become 4. Now hydrogen is also balanced. But what about sulfur now? Sulfur is having 2 here and 2 here. Sulfur is also balanced. So in this way we can balance a chemical equation. Now next word, and I have to rub it before switch to the next again. So I rub it first of all. And after rubbing it, I will move toward the next chemical reaction, and I will first of all write down the chemical equation for the same, and after that I will try to balance it. And I will follow the law of the conservation of mass to balance this chemical equation. So what is given to me? I have given with barium chloride. That means to say I have given with BaCl2, the chemical formula for barium chloride, which is reacting with aluminium sulfate. That means to say it is reacting with Al2SO4 3. You already have done this chemical reaction in the previous videos. So it is giving us what? Aluminium chloride. That means to say AlCl2, aluminium chloride. Aluminium chloride AlCl3. Or it is also giving us barium sulfate BaSO4. right? So this is the chemical equation. So I have to balance it. I have to check first of all it is balanced or not. So I will first start with the bremium. Bremium is having one atom on the reactant side, and if I check, bremium is also having one atom on the product side, so it's balanced. After that I switch toward the chlorine. Chlorine is having two atoms on the reactant side and three atoms on the product side. It's not balanced. Aluminium is having two atoms in the reactant side, one atom on the product side. It is again not balanced, not balanced, not balanced. Sulfur is having three atoms. Now, sulfur is having three atoms on the reactant side, but one atom on the product side. It is again not balanced. Oxygen is having seven, and oxygen here is having four on the product side. It is not balanced. So to balance it, I will write down three here. If I write down 3 here, so if bremium is already balanced, so I directly switch toward the sulfate side. So don't consider it wrong. It is, you can start with the chlorine also. It's up to you. So I write down 3 here. So I found we having 3 bremium chloride, sorry, 3 bremium atoms on the product side, sulfur 3 and oxygen 7. So this is balanced, this is balanced, but bremium is not balanced. So I have to write down 3 also here. So if I write down 3 also here, the barium is balanced on the both side, rectangular product side, but chlorine is left because chlorine is having 6 now, 3 into 6 on the rectangle side. So to balance it, I have to write down 3 here. Sorry, not 3, 2 here. So if I write down 2 here, the chlorines now become 6 and aluminium become 2. And on the rectangle side, aluminium is also 2. So in this way, all atoms for each element on substance is balanced on the rectangle side and the product side of this chemical equation, and the equation is balanced out. Now I move toward the next. Potassium reacted with water. For potassium, I have to rub it before switching toward the next. Sorry for the inconvenience, but I have this slide, this space for writing these equations by my own. So I have to use that space only, but you can simply understand it when you will be following me, when you will following my video, my audio, then you will be completely understand this. So in this particular, reactions, in the fourth one, potassium is taken, potassium atom, K, potassium symbol is K, and it is reacting with water, that means H2O, and giving us what? It is giving us potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas, and I have to check it out what can be the possible chemical equation for the same. So I write down K here. First of all, the chemical symbol for the potassium. After that, I write down H2O, which is nothing but the water itself, H2O, which is giving us potassium hydroxide. That means to say KOH, simply, and hydrogen gas, which is nothing but is H2O. So this is the possible chemical reaction will happen when potassium react with water, giving us potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So what can be the is that the chemical equation is balanced or not balanced? We have to check it out. So first of all, let's start with the potassium. The potassium is having one atom on the reactant side and the one atom on the product side. So I consider it's balanced. And the hydrogen is having two atoms on the reactant side and three atoms on the product side. So it is not balanced. I have to balance it. Oxygen is having one atom on the reactant side and one atom on the product side. It's balanced. So the only issue is for the hydrogen. So for hydrogen, I have to balance it. So I first of all see hydrogen having three different, atoms, three atoms, but on the product side, but two atoms on the reactant side. So if I write down here 2, right? So it become 4, right? So if I write down 2 here, now hydrogen become 4 here also on the product side. But what about oxygen? Oxygen is also getting balanced because oxygen is also having 2. But what about potassium? Potassium is not balanced now. Potassium having product side 2 atoms, reactant side 1 atom. So I have to write down 2 here also, so that it will become balanced. Now the equation is balanced with us. So the possible solution for the same is also mentioned there. For first equation, ammonia formed by hydrogen and nitrogen gas, hydrogen sulfide, oxygen reacting giving water and sulfur dioxide. After that, barium chloride with aluminum sulfate giving aluminum chloride and barium sulfate. This is nothing but the double displacement reaction also. And after that, a potassium and water reacting give potassium oxide and hydrogen. So this is the possible outcome for this particular question. So the next question is, balance the following chemical equations. So first we are giving with HNO3 or calcium hydroxide, which is giving calcium nitrate and water. So I have to balance it first of all. So I will simply start with writing the chemical equation first of all, and or you can take the chemical equation written there to balance it. So you can first of all understand by just looking at the equation, is it balanced or not. So here the number of atoms for hydrogen on the right-hand side are 1. Sorry, not 1, 3. 2 for this and 1 for this. And number of hydrogen atom or product side are 2. So it's not balanced. After that, the nitrogen number of atoms are 1 here and 2 here. So it's again not balanced. The oxygen number of atoms are 3. Here are 6, not balanced. So calcium is having number of atom 1. So here are 1, it's balanced. Again, if I look at the oxygen, the number of atoms are 4 and here are the 6. So it's not balanced. So I have to balance it. So how to start first of all? I will first start with hydrogen. So hydrogen is having H1 or 2, 3 here and 2 here. So if I write down simply a 3 here or 2 here, so it will become 4. Yeah, it will become 4. So let's say I am writing 2 here. So it is become now 4. But 2 atoms for hydrogens are still left. 3 to 5 to 4. 1 is left. Right? So if I simply write down here 2. Now number of atoms are 2 to 4 and 4 on product side. It is balanced. Now what happened with the nitrogen and oxygen? Nitrogen is having 2 atoms now and 2 atoms in the product side. Oxygen is having 6 atoms on the right-hand side. 6, not 6, 6 or 8 and 6 on the product side. Right? But the 2 atoms for this is also will added. So it will be 6. Total 6. Calcium is having 1 here and 1 here. So the equation is balanced. So while writing these two 2's in the right-hand side and the product side, the equation will be get balanced. So equation is now 2HNO3, CaOH2, CaNO3, 2 and 2H2O. Right? So equation is balanced. After that, sodium hydroxide and hydrogen sulfate. So H2SO4 NaOH is giving sodium sulfate and H2O water. So what is the balanced chemical equation for this reaction? Sodium is having 1 atom in this side and 2 atoms on the product side. Oxygen is having 5 atoms on the right-hand side and 5 atoms on the product side. It's balanced. Hydrogen is having 3 atoms on the product side and 2 atoms for the right-hand side. So I have to balance it. So oxygen is already balanced. So if I start with sodium, let's say I write down 2 here. So if I write down 2 here, the sodium become now balanced. 2 sodium atoms on right-hand side, 2 sodium atoms on product side. It is balanced. But oxygen is now become 6. 2 for this, 4 for this. It becomes 6. And it is now only 5 there. So if I write down 2 here, now it becomes 6. Right? Sodium is balanced. Now oxygen is get balanced because oxygen is having 2 or 4, 6 on the product side and 4 and 2 on the right-hand side. 6 on that. What about hydrogen? Hydrogen is having 2 or 2. 4 on the reactant side and 4 on the product side. It is also balanced. What about sulfur? Sulfur is having 1 on the reactant side and 1 on the product side balanced, and oxygen is also already balanced, so the equation is balanced. After that, sodium chloride, silver nitrate, NaCl or AgNO3. It is giving silver chloride and sodium nitrate, so that means it's a double displacement reaction. It is another example of double displacement reaction, sodium chloride and silver nitrate, giving silver chloride and sodium nitrate. Now I have to check it is at balance or not. So sodium having 1 atom this side and 1 atom this side balanced. Chlorine is also having 1 atom this side, 1 atom this side balanced. Silver is having 1 atom this side, 1 atom this side balanced. N is having 1 element in this side and 1 element this side. Nitrogen is balanced. Oxygen is 3, 3, so it's balanced. So equation is already balanced. So we do not have any change in this equation. Barium chloride, hydrogen sulfate, barium sulfate or hydrogen chloride, HCl. So it's again double displacement reaction. This is an example of double displacement. Barium chloride or H2SO4, giving barium sulfate and hydrogen chloride. So barium chloride, barium is having 1 atom this side, 1 atom this side, barium balanced. Both on reactant and product side the equations are balanced. Chlorine is having 2 atoms this side and 1 atom this side, so it's not balanced. Hydrogen is having 2 atoms this side and 1 atom this side, not balanced. Or sulfur is having 1 atom this side, 1 atom this side balanced. Oxygen is having 4 atoms this side and 4 atoms this side is balanced. So if I write down simply 2 here, the hydrogen become 2 as it there in the reactant side and chlorine become 2 as there in the reactant side. So it again will be balanced. So this is how they are balanced. So the solutions are they all are matched. So this is the solution. Next, write down the balanced chemical equation for the following reaction. So directions are there. Calcium hydroxide, carbon dioxide, calcium carbonate, water. So calcium hydroxide, that means to say CaOH2 is a calcium hydroxide. Salt lime, carbon dioxide, CO2. What is giving us? Calcium carbonate, CaCl2, and water. That means to say again the double displacement reaction type H2O. So I have to check, write down the balanced chemical equation. So balance, we have to check it, is it balanced or not. So calcium is having 1 atom this side, 1 atom this side, calcium is balanced. Oxygen have 2 atoms this side, 4 atom on reactant side and 2 atom on product side. So it's not balanced. Hydrogen is having 2 atom on reactant side, 2 atom on product side, balanced. Carbon is calcium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. Calcium, sorry, it will be calcium carbonate, not calcium chloride. Sorry, it will become 3 calcium chloride. So I have to rub it and I have to write it away. So by mistake it's changed. Calcium carbonate. So it will be CaCO3, calcium carbonate. No, calcium CaCO3, not calcium chloride. So oxygen is having 4 this side and 4 this side. Oxygen is balanced. Hydrogen is balanced, right? And carbon is also balanced. So equation is balanced, right? Next, zinc silver. So should I again have to rub it? Yes, because it's difficult to difficult to look at this statement. So I have to rub it. So I simply rub it first of all, or either I will use the top of this slide so that we don't have to rub it again and again. So I will rub it. Now it's visible. The equation is for zinc and silver nitrate. Zinc is represented by Zn, silver nitrate is for AgNO3 and it is giving us zinc nitrate, that means ZnNO3, and silver Ag. So I have to check it, is it balanced or not. Zinc is having 1 on the right hand side, 1 on the product side, balanced. Silver is 1 on the right hand side, 1 on the product side, balanced. Nitrogen is also balanced, 1 on both sides, and oxygen is also balanced. So the equation is written there, right? Or if I specifically write down zinc nitrate is having 2 in a foot, so in that way it is not balanced. So I have to mention a 2 and 2 also here, so that it will become balanced. Because silver nitrate is having foot 2. Zinc nitrate, not silver nitrate, zinc nitrate. And the third point, aluminium and copper chloride. Aluminium is represented by Al and copper chloride by CuClO2 chloride, giving us aluminium chloride and copper, aluminium chloride AlCl2. So basically this is the displacement reaction, and copper. Aluminium is more active than copper, so it's giving copper and attached with chloride, copper chloride. So basically, so I have to check it whether the equation is balanced or not. Copper chloride is actually aluminium chloride is represented Cl3. So I have to check it out, is it balanced or not. So according to that, aluminium is having 1 on the reactant side, 1 on the product side, balanced. Copper 1 on both sides, balanced, but Cl3 is not. So I have write down 3 here, for example, to balance it. Now it become 3. So I have to write down 2 here to balance it. So it become now 6. Chlorine is balanced now. But what about aluminium? Aluminium have 2 atoms on the product side and 1 atom on the reactant side. So I have to write down 2 here. So it will be balanced. And what about copper? Copper is having 3 atoms on this side, but 1 atom on this side. So I have to write down 3. So it will become the balanced chemical equation. What about the next? Barium chloride, potassium sulfate. Barium chloride BaCl2 and potassium sulfate KSO4, K2SO4. It is giving us what? Barium sulfate BaSO4 and potassium chloride KCl. So this is the output. So I have to check out what about the number of atoms for each element. Barium has 1 atom on the reactant side and 1 atom on the product side, balanced. Chlorine having 2 atoms this side, 1 atom this side, not balanced. Potassium has 2 atoms this side, 1 atom this side, not balanced. SO4, which is a sulfur and oxygen having 1 or 4 atoms on the reactant side and 1 or 4 atoms on the product side is balanced. So if I simply write in 2, the potassium will become now 2 atoms on the both side and chlorine having 2 atoms both side, so it will become balanced. So this is the balanced chemical equations. So the solutions are there. Next question is, write down a balanced chemical equation for the following. Identify the type of the reaction in each case. Right? So this equation we will do by writing. So we have to be first of all write down the chemical equation, and after that we will check it out, is it balanced or not balanced. So if I first of all take a pointer and I write on potassium bromide. So potassium bromide is represented by KBr and brominium iodide is BaI2. So this is the formula for this. And after that there is giving potassium iodide Ki and brominium bromide Ba. This is a double displacement reaction. Br2. So in this chemical equation I have to check it out, is it balanced or not balanced. So सबसे पहले so first of all I will find out the potassium is having one atom on the reactant side and one atom on the product side. Bromide having one atom on the reactant side and one atom on two atom on the product side. So it's not balanced. Rhenium is having one atom on the reactant side and one atom on the product side balanced. The iodine is having one atom on the product reactant side and two atom on the product side and one atom on the reactant side. So iodine and bromine is not balanced. So to balance it, if I write down 2 here, so now the bromide will be balanced, but potassium is left to be get balanced because potassium is now become 2. So if I want to balance it, I will write down 2 here. Now potassium atom will be increased to 2 in product side, and it will become same as on the reactant side atoms for potassium. And if I check with the iodine, it is also getting 2 now on the product side, which was earlier 1. So now it is also get balanced when we will look in the chemical equation. So this is a balanced chemical equation. To switch toward the next, I have to rub it, and this is the next chemical equation for zinc carbonate, which is giving zinc oxide and carbon dioxide with and I have to check for this what can be the possible chemical equation for the same. So zinc carbonate. Zinc carbonate is represented by ZnZnCO3, which is giving us a decomposition reaction when heated into zinc oxide ZnO and carbon dioxide CO2. So if I check it out, then I found that the Zn on the reactant side having one atom, Zn on the product side having one atom. Carbon is having one atom on the reactant side, carbon having one atom on the product side. Oxygen having 3 atoms on the reactant side and 3 atoms on the product side. The equation is balanced. And for the next equation, hydrogen, which is nothing but H2, and chlorine, Cl2, is giving hydrogen chloride. Definitely, it will be give us HCl, which when I wrote, because the equation will not become balanced if I write down simply HCl. So I have to mention 2 molecules of HCl here, so that the equation will be get balanced. Because 2 atoms for hydrogen and 2 atoms for chlorine are there on the reactant side of this chemical equation. So that's why it will become 2 HCl on the product side. And after that, the magnesium hydrochloric acid give magnesium chloride and hydrogen. So I take this space and write down the equation for this. Magnesium symbol is Mg, hydrochloric acid is HCl, which you will know, and it is giving us magnesium chloride, that means MgCl2, and hydrogen gas H2. So if I look at the equation and check it out, is it balanced or not? Then I found that magnesium element is balanced on reactant side and the product side because having one atom. Hydrogen is having one atom on the reactant side and 2 atoms on the product side, not balanced. Chlorine also having not balanced because chlorine having 2 atoms for product side and 1 atom for reactant side. So if I simply write down 2 here, it will be get balanced because hydrogen now become 2 on the reactant side and chlorine also become 2 on the reactant side. So in this way you can balance the chemical equation. So after that you can also see the solution for this and the type of the chemical reaction it is. The first is a double displacement reaction and another is a decomposition reaction. In this, because the two elements are getting displaced from its individual substance in the product side, so that's why it's a double displacement reaction. In a decomposition reaction, simply when zinc carbonate will be getting heated, it will be giving zinc oxide and carbon dioxide, so it's getting decomposed. When hydrogen and chlorine both are combined, give HCl, so it's a combination reaction. Magnesium when reacted with hydrochloric acid, it gives magnesium chloride. So it's basically displacing chlorine. Magnesium is high reactive, so it displaces hydrogen, not chlorine. So that's why it's a displacement reaction. Hydrogen is getting displaced. So this is the solution. Now next question is, why does one mean by exothermic and endothermic reaction? Give an example. We have already done in the previous videos that exothermic is a reaction which will take place. When take place, will give heat. So the reaction which when take place give heat is the exothermic reaction. On the other hand, the reaction in which the heat is getting absorbed, this is known as endothermic. So the photosynthesis process is a big example for endothermic process, and respiration is a big example for exothermic reaction. So you can use any of the both, but here for exothermic reaction, we are simply taking an example of sodium chlorine to give us salt, Na half Cl2, Na half chlorine Cl2, which is giving us 2 NaCl, salt plus heat. It is nothing but the chemical reaction which is giving heat. So it's a big example of exothermic reaction. So you can also have the reaction with C6H12O6, which is a glucose. When it is reactive with the oxygen, it is giving us heat, energy, E, CO2 and water. This is also the example for exothermic process. Right? The reaction which absorb energy is called endothermic. The reaction which give energy is called exothermic. Photosynthesis is a big example of endothermic, which absorb energy and give glucose and oxygen. Now, move toward the next. Why respiration considered an exothermic reaction? Wow, what a great question. Why exothermic process is respiration? Because we are taking glucose and we are inhaling oxygen. It is basically giving us heat, energy in our body, in our digestion process. So it is basically an exothermic reaction because it is producing heat, energy in form of heat. So that's why it's a exothermic reaction. So you can simply see by this through the solution. Energy is required to support life. Energy is our body is obtained by the food we eat. So energy is required because we want to do some work. We want to support our life. So that energy will be obtained in our body when we start eating food. So during digestion, large molecular foods are broken down to simpler substance such as glucose. That glucose combined with oxygen and provide us energy. That is basically exothermic reaction because it is producing energy. So the reaction is given there, which I have written in the previous slide also. So the next topic is, next question is, why are decomposition reaction called the opposite of combined reaction? Write the equation for these reactions. So decomposition reaction, as I discussed before, is opposite to combination reaction because in a decomposition reaction, the combination in a decomposition reaction, the compound is break down into the different substance elements on the product side of a chemical equation. So that's why it's called decomposition reaction. On the other hand, in a combination reaction, the substance, the compound or the elements are getting combined to form a single substance or a compound on the product side. So that's why the composition reaction is opposite to decomposition reaction. And we are taking few examples here to understand it. Decomposition reaction are those in which compound break down to form two or more substance. So this is a decomposition reaction, where the substance itself is getting breaked into the two different substance or more than two also. The reaction require source of energy to proceed. So for that purpose we require the energy. The energy can be in any form. The energy can be in form of heat. The energy can be in form of light or energy can be in form of electricity. So any form of energy is required to decompose a single substance into more than two substances. So a single substance on the reactant side is decomposed into two or more substance on the product side of a chemical equation when we supply heat to that substance, light to that substance, or electricity to that substance. On the other hand, the combination of the reaction take place and with some releasing of energy. So we have a few examples for the same. First example of decomposition. This is basically the expression which is representing if the AB, any kind of substance which is represented by AB, when we supply energy to it, it will be break into A plus B. That means to say, AB is representing a single substance on the reactant side of chemical equation. When we supply energy to this, it will be decomposed into the first substance A and second substance B on the product side of a chemical equation. Here H2O, this is a water. In liquid state, when it will be getting heated, when we supply energy to it, we heat it. It will be decomposed into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So this is a big example of decomposition reaction. On the other hand, the combination reaction can be the opposite of this. If we combine H2 and O2, it will give us H2O, 2H2O. That will be the combination reaction. So if the arrow will be getting reversed, simply, because now if I reverse the arrow, the reactant are now on the right hand side and the product is on the left hand side of the chemical equation for combination reaction. If the arrow is toward the right hand side, the reactants are in this side and products are on this side of chemical equation. So this is the basically difference between the combination reaction and the decomposition reaction. Next, write one equation each for decomposition reaction where energy is supplied in form of heat, light and electricity. So we have to write down the equation for each kind of decomposition where decomposition is happened because of either heat, either light or either electricity. So I am taking few examples. For example, if I take iron sulfate, FeSO4 for example, and I supply, this example we have already done, and we supply heat to it. Thermal energy or heat is the same thing. We apply heat to it. It will be decomposed into FeO3 plus SO2 and SO3. So a single substance on the left hand side of this chemical equation is decomposed into more than two or three substances in this chemical equation. The ferrous sulfate is decomposed into ferric oxide. Sorry, two is left to right there. Ferrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide. So this is happen when we supply heat to it. Another example where we supply light and it will be decomposed into different substance. The substance will be decomposed into a different substance is there. Silver chloride. If we decompose silver, if we simply apply a light, because if we kept silver chloride in a light, it will give us silver and chloride both as a product. The equations are still not balanced, so we will balance it. It's just to make it clear how the decomposition is happen because of heat, light and electricity. The third is decomposition by electricity. So the example is for, the example is for aluminium oxide, Al2O3. If we supply electricity to this, it will be give us aluminium and oxygen. This is because of electricity. So these equations are basically not balanced, so we can balance it. इसमें electricity pass हुई है, please remember this. So in this the number of iron is 2, so it's 1 here, so I write down simply 2 here, and I will check it down ki is it now balanced or not. So 2 irons are equal, number of atoms on iron on reactant side is equal to number of atoms of iron on the product side, which is 2. Sulfur, sulfur is the next element, which is a 1 here, sorry, not 2 here, and 2 here, 1 plus 1 2 on the product side. Oxygen is 4 into 2 8 here, and 3 to 5 and 3 8 here on the product side, so it's balanced equation. AgCl is giving AgCl2, so it's not balanced. If I simply write in here, if I take 2 molecules of silver chloride, it will be decomposed into 2 molecules of silver and 1 molecule containing 2 atoms of chlorine. Al2O3, if I check it out, then the Al is not having matched with Al on the reactant side. Why? Because the number of atoms are different. So if I simply write down here 2, so now it's become 4, so I can write down here 4. And if for oxygen, if I simply 3 into 2, so if I write down 3 here, now the equation is balanced. So the same solution is also given there, you can check it out. 1. So this is the solution. Next, question 13. What is the difference between displacement and double displacement reaction? Definitely, this is also the one of the important thing. Write down the equation to justify. So first of all, we understand displacement. In displacement reaction, more reactive element, to be very precise, a more reactive element will replace a less reactive element to form a new compound. This is known as displacement reaction. On the another hand side, in double displacement, 2 substance will participate. 2 atoms or group of atoms switch their place to form a new compound. This is a double displacement reaction, and the example for the same are, for example, for displacement we are taking copper sulfate, and copper sulfate solution when reacting with zinc, iron, right, then it is giving us zinc sulfate and copper. This is a displacement reaction because only one kind of atoms or elements are displaced. Only copper is displaced. So that's why, sorry, I write down wrong here. There will be copper because copper is only displaced. So that's why this is known as displacement. There is a one element which is displaced. In double displacement, for example, sodium sulfate Na2SO4 and calcium chloride. Sorry, barium chloride, for example. Calcium chloride can also be taken. Barium chloride give us sodium chloride 2NaCl and barium sulfate BaSO4. So in this particular reaction, we can simply see the chlorine is displaced toward the sodium and form a sodium chloride salt, and sulfate is moved toward the barium, so it is form barium sulfate. So when there is a participation of 2 groups of atoms to switch their place to form a new compound, the reaction is known as double displacement reaction. This is the solution. Next, in the refining of silver, the recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution involved displacement by copper metal. Write down the equation. So one thing should be clear here. The silver nitrate gives the pure silver only when it will be reacted with copper. So the silver nitrate is represented by AgNO3. If it is reacting with copper, then it is giving us copper nitrate CuNO32, because the symbol, the formula for chemical formula for this is CuNO32 plus silver. So to balance it, I have to write down 2 here because and 2 here. Now the equation is balanced. Now you can check the mass of the atoms on rectangular product side to justify or to understand. Next is 15. What do you mean by precipitation reaction? Explain by giving an example. Precipitation is a reaction where some insoluble substance are get. So we having the example here for sodium carbonate and calcium chloride. Calcium chloride Na2CO3 when reacted with calcium chloride CaCl2, it is giving us CaCO3 and 2NaCl. Here CaCO3 is a precipitated substance. The example is another example, sodium sulfate with barium chloride, which we have done before. Barium sulfate here is a precipitated substance. Next is a shiny brown color element on heating in air become black. No doubt this will be copper, because copper when will be heated in air, it will be react with oxygen and form copper oxide. So this is the solution, a balanced chemical equation. Now what do you mean by why you apply paint on the articles, iron articles? Because iron articles or any metallic articles are very reactive to the oxygen present in the air. So that's why they get rusted, they get crude. So that's why we apply paint on that article so that it will be not wrecked. Because paint make a layer on that articles of iron or any other metal to protect from the oxygen reaction with that material or metal. Iron article are painted because it prevents from rusting. When painted, the content of iron particle from moisture and air is cut off. Definitely, when you paint it, it make a layer on that iron articles, and it protect it with the it protect to make a content of that iron article with moisture or air present in the atmosphere. So that's why this is important. Next is oil and fat containing food atom are flushed with nitrogen. Why? Because nitrogen is inactive metal. It will not react with the food product in comparison to oxygen. On the other hand, oxygen will be easily react with the food product and form it and make it rancid, and it will be start the food product will be start giving smell with and giving some different taste. That's why nitrogen is added. Question: explain the following term, corrosion and rancidity. Corrosion is basically dealing with the metals to make it crude when it will be start reacting with air and moisture present in the atmosphere. This is called corrosion. On the other hand, rancidity is basically